Welcome to Your Queer Story. We are
the
your
coronavirus special. We're starting off strong today.
There we
people.
go. Should be a little more somber, but yeah, that's fine. Whatever. You know what we could have done? We should have made a Your Queer Story toilet paper because that would have sold the fuck out.
Oh my god, that would have been great.
Just you and
one
me.
sheet is my face, and like
exactly
the next sheet's
is
your
my
face.
face. Just our faces on all the sheets. Your Queer Story. Sold it for an outrageous price. People would have had to buy it.
Yep.
People are selling regular packs of toilet paper for like 36, 40 something bucks online right now.
Guess what, bitches? I got a bidet.
Yeah.
I knew, like, what, a year ago when we got that thing, it would come in handy. And guess what? Bitch, y'all are out there trying to get toilet paper. I don't even need it.
You don't even need it.
Nope.
You can get, everybody's going to get bidets now. Not me. Not me.
Hey,
but
if there's a bidet company that would like to sponsor Your Queer Story, I feel like we're like a great market.
We are the market for bidets.
We are, so.
This is Your Queer Stories bidet special. Clean your asshole.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Nothing worse than being gay with a dirty asshole.
Just in general, it's clean your asshole. Just wash your hands, wash your ass.
You know, I saw something online that was like, man hasn't washed his asshole because he thinks it's gay. And I'm like, that is disgusting.
That's terrifying.
Are straight men really out there just not washing their assholes?
I think they are. I really don't think they're. No. I think they just wipe it and go.
No.
You should watch that.
When you're in the shower, get that soap down there and fucking scrub. You want that shit to be clean.
Get up in there. Get yourself a mini loofah and put it up there.
Stick a little finger up there, swirl it. No, don't really do that, but
Paul's intense morning ritual. Yeah.
I have a lot of caffeine and a lot of anti-anxiety medicine in me right now, and I feel so good.
So great. No way he's going to crash over the next week.
No, never.
It's all that energy, and you're going to be stuck at home for the next month.
Oh, I know. I think that's why I have so much energy, because I've literally just been sitting at my desk for like a week.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm out of the house, even though David dragged me.
Dragged you.
Yeah, dragged me all over Rhode Island yesterday.
Yeah. Well, you needed to get out of the house. You need to get out.
I don't need to get out of the house. I would be like, I could self-isolate for a year and it would not bother me.
Well, it's like, I've already been self-isolating.
I have been.
Social distancing.
When we lived in Indiana, I self-isolated unless you dragged me out of the house.
That's true. That's called depression, Paul. That's not called self-isolation. It's all full of shit.
That's true.
Doctor's like, nope, you're mistaken. You're not quarantined. You're depressed.
That's also
like
true.
A year from now, and you're like, I'm just still self-isolating, you know?
Yep. I'm just trying to be real careful. I do not want to spread this pandemic. That's all.
Jesus. So anyways.
Welcome back to Your Queer Story. I don't think we introduced ourselves. I'm Paul.
I'm Evan.
And this is a podcast that inspires peace, love, and radicalism.
That's right. Well, it'll be on a t-shirt before you know it. I'm surprised he hasn't already done it.
Why haven't I done that?
I don't know.
That, you know what? I think I'll do that for like a nice ugly Christmas sweater.
Oh, okay. Good.
That would be cute.
Last night, one of my good friends and also a listener of our podcast, we were over at our friend Sam and Crystal's house, and we were watching a show. We were finally watching Charlie's Angels that I said months ago I was going to watch, and we did watch. Anyways, so like the whole night goes through, and then finally Samantha, my wife, says to me, like she says something like, wow, you don't pay attention. And I'm like, what is she talking about? I look over and Sam is wearing a Your Queer Story shirt and apparently had been wearing it for a while, walking back and forth in front of me, and I just hadn't paid attention.
You don't pay attention. You and David are very similar in that aspect where like if you are focused on something, nothing else in the world like comes into focus at all. Like you are solely focused on that one aspect. I
also really don't pay attention to people's clothes. The only clothes I ever pay attention to is men who are dressed in like dress clothes. You know, like if you're wearing like a business dress suit or something.
Yeah, I don't ever
stylish.
Focus. Like I know some people will be like, "Oh, did you see that person's shoes?" And I'm like, I absolutely did not. Couldn't tell you
anything that anyone's wearing. If someone's wearing a sharp suit, and I will spot that, and like they're paired their tie and their handkerchief together, I will spot that in a second.
I won't spot shit. Like I couldn't tell you anything about anyone's. I think it's because retail numbed me. Like working in retail, you just see so many different faces. Like I think I have some kind of disorder now where everybody's face just blends together. Yeah, because like you dealt with so many hundreds of people and thousands of people throughout the week that like you can't remember anything anymore about what anybody looks like or anything because there's just too much stimulation of people.
I think that's true. When I first started working, I worked at a gas station at midnight. I knew every person's name. I knew what cigarettes they smoked, what tobacco they chewed, how many cups of coffee they liked. Like, I would have people's stuff ready for them because I knew the same customers, everything. And then by the end, like I couldn't tell you. Someone could come into my store every single week and couldn't tell you their name.
And then you wanted to remember their name because they're in there every day, but you don't want to like say, "Hey, Frank," and they're like, "My name's John. I come in here every day." Like,
you want to keep and strike up a contact, but it's just like it's too much at that point. It's too much. But retail has ruined a lot of things, and bless the retail workers that are out there right now in the trenches,
especially like at CVS and stuff. Because I was talking to Evan. Because we both used to be CVS store managers, which you probably know by now. But I was like, I am so happy that I am not doing that right now because those managers are working like 80 hours a week. Their stores look like shit. Oh, yeah. And like they've still got stuff to get done.
Their stores look like shit and they're still getting emails that are like, all right, folks, I know we're in the middle of a pandemic right now, but if we can make sure we get these numbers up.
Why aren't your price tags done for the week? Like
exactly. They're like, it seems that we're running behind on things. I'm not sure why.
Right. You guys know you can work more than 45 hours, right? Even though your
managers can, right? We're not going to do anything to increase your budgets.
We just cut your hours by 40 a week because you got those new self-checkouts. I don't know why those self-checkouts aren't putting up your stickers for you. Maybe you need to train them better.
Don't know what else you want, but
retail is going downhill. Get out now.
Yeah. Bail out. Run for your lives. Please save yourself. But if you have to stay in it, good luck. It's awful. It's an awful predicament to be in because you have to be working with hundreds and even thousands of people, depending on where you're at every day. And then on top of that, your life is hell from every side. And I think the Providence Place Mall closed down. Someone told me that it closed.
Speaking of retail and everything, if you are one of those people who is out shopping, please treat the cashiers and employees with respect.
Oh my God.
If you have to wait in a line for an hour, guess what? That's not their fault. Yeah. They can't help that every fucking person in your state is at their store right now. And they're doing their best. They're probably making minimum wage. Give them a fucking break because their lives are hell right now. Yeah, and they're exposed to all of these people every single day.
Exactly. And if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be able to buy your fucking toilet paper. So you know what? Shut the fuck up, Susan, and be nice to the person that you're checking out with. Also, if you do go out to eat, remember that servers and people that work on commissions especially are going to be really suffering. There's no kind of packet or anything to help them. And so if you can give a little extra, if you have that, give a little extra where you can because people, people that need that, they need the public in their places aren't going to be able to get it. And then people that are working in retail are being overworked and everybody's just strung thin.
Yes. And also... keep your local queer artists in mind.
Yes.
I have a friend who works part-time in it's not fast food, it's kind of a restaurant. She works part-time there, and I'm sure it's not going to be very busy there. Her hours might get cut, and her other job is fully drag.
Yeah.
So she's, like this week alone, she's losing out, I think, on $700 in gigs.
Yeah.
And that's like her rent money. So keep your local entertainers in mind. Throw them a little love if you have a little bit extra. Buy some of their merch, get them a little bit extra money this next month. They're gonna need it. People who don't work full-time jobs with benefits are gonna be struggling this next few weeks, and people who do work full-time job are gonna be struggling because a lot of people I know are getting laid off or their hours are getting cut, and there's no their hours are getting cut from 40 to 16. There's no compensation for that.
They just shit. Yeah. They're not laying people off because businesses don't want to pay unemployment, and fuck all those chains that have the money to pay unemployment. People are paying into your unemployment every fucking week, and you're not laying them off because you don't want to pay the unemployment, but you keep them on for pennies. You cut their hours by 20, 30 hours. They have to. That's such an awful way to treat people.
Absolutely.
And fuck you. Hey, fuck you because you have the money, because you're multi-million and billionaires owning these companies and running people into the ground.
Yep. I will say that luckily I work in an industry that is not going to go out of any sort of business anytime soon. It's actually probably going to prosper in this environment, unfortunately. So I've been lucky enough to just be quarantined and working from home full time. Yeah. So I've been very lucky. I know a lot of people are going to be suffering, so please keep them in your thoughts. And if you can give a little extra, do.
Don't buy from Amazon. Buy from local websites, or like go on Etsy. If someone does have their stuff marketed on Amazon, make sure you're buying through their store. And like we said, like local merch shops, most artists have their stuff posted online. And you can find so buy through their website. Any little way that you can, and support the community. But it's really hard because it's things like this that it's the people that are already struggling the most that are going to be hurt the most.
Exactly.
But you know what? The good thing is we bailed out the stock market, and that's all that matters.
We just found that $1.5 trillion. It came out of nowhere.
Pull it right out of our fucking ass. And the good thing is Trump's 5 friends are all going to be great, and that's fucking great for me.
We found that $1.5 trillion, but those couple billion we need to make other programs last, where the hell are we going to get that money?
Healthcare.
That's not going to the billionaires. How is that going to help us? Are you kidding me?
Absolutely. Didn't have money in the budget for any of that, but we got money for the stock market, so... That's fucking fantastic. It's going to be a whole episode of this shit, people, because we're talking about the coronavirus today because didn't seem appropriate to talk about anything else. So, but before we get to there, speaking of merch shops, like we said, you can check out our merch shop online.
It goes on sale regularly, probably twice a month. It usually lasts about a week, and you can get t-shirts as low as $13. We've even got stickers for like $2.50 if you just want to buy something, throw it on your laptop. We've got a lot of different things. I've got some new Pride merch out for this season. We've got almost every Pride flag. I'm working on a few more. I still have to do, I think, the asexual one. I'm going to do the, I don't know. I've got a few more designs that I'm working on. But we have like the pansexual one, the bisexual one, gay,
transgender.
Yeah. So they're pretty cute. They're very minimalist. They're very nice. I think they're pretty modern.
Yeah, they're modern, and they're, like you said, they're not like your queer story specific, which you can get your queer story specific stuff. But if you just want something that's Pride, and I have a feeling that Pride is going to be amazing this year because it'll probably be at the tail end of everything.
Oh yeah, and everybody's been locked.
Exactly, everybody's been locked down, and now you can finally go out, and it'll be summer, and you know. And it'll be great.
You can get some Pride 2020 tank tops.
That's right.
Be great for June.
That's right. Yeah, so you can check that out. Our Patreon, we've got our stuff. We've got Behind the Queens. We just finished our a super cool, cute one about me talking about dating a drag queen, which will be available for free for everybody. Which it'll be on our Patreon, but you can listen to that episode for free. Give you a little preview about what we're doing every week, kind of the insight to what Behind the Queens is. And if you want to join the Patreon after listening, feel free. Yeah, then you can see what we do every week. So, all you have to do is go to Patreon/yourqueerstory.com and you can... Patreon.com/yourqueerstory. Patreon.com/yourqueerstory. You know what it is. And you can listen to that for free, like Paul said, anyone. And also, we have other stuff on there for our Patreons. The Coffee with Evan, which is a little series I do that I just talk about random things going on in my life or topics in my healing journey a lot. I'm going to be doing that every other week now, so that's only going to be twice a month. But, we do still produce a lot of content for you guys. I just want to make sure that I'm being fair and keeping up with it, and it's been a little hard to manage. And I am still working on the interview episode, which is going to take up more time. So I'm just shifting that to twice a month for Coffee with Evan. Behind the Queens is every time we record, and then the interview will be once a month once that gets launched. And then, of course, all the other random, unexpected things that we do in post. Yep. So we are very close to hitting our next goal, which will be a funny YouTube video of our Patreon's choice. So we put a poll out there, various different things, and yeah. So like, subscribe, download, become a Patreon. Leave us a review or tweet at us. We love tweets. We love interacting with people. We get messages on every platform every day almost. We respond to every single one. Your Queer Story on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter at EB&J Sandwich. And me on Instagram at Gaby Unicorn. Okay. I don't really keep up with my public, me profiles. I just have a little meme page I maintain on Instagram, and that's about it. Yeah. Yep. There we go. So, So today we're doing an unscripted episode on the coronavirus. I say this as I read a scripted paragraph. But the rest of this won't be. Also known as COVID-19, We know that there's a lot of information out there, and no doubt many of our listeners are tired of hearing about the epidemic. However, it is important that we address the fast-spreading virus. We want to encourage those quarantined indoors, calm some of the fears of others out there, as well as provide caution to those who still have to interact with the general public. So here's some facts, myths, and general tips about COVID-19.
The term coronavirus means any group of RNA viruses that cause a variety of diseases. This is not the first form of coronavirus by any means. Two of the most recent other strands were SARS, which stands for Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome, and MERS, which is Middle East Respiratory Syndrome.
Yeah, so the basic thing is respiratory. If you've heard everything about the symptoms, you have a cough, you have chest pains, you have a fever. Any of those are symptoms of the coronavirus. And like we've probably heard 1,000 times, for most people, it's very mild. You probably won't even know that you have it. But if you do find yourself start coughing, and now that I'm talking about it, I can feel the cough in my throat.
I 100% thought I had coronavirus. I was
sure you did.
That's part of having anxiety.
Yeah.
I immediately had like the most subtle chest pain, and I was like, it's coming. I was like, this is the end.
Like that. Well, I'm done.
Yep.
Samantha's like works at a school. They just closed down all the schools, but last week, she said that they probably sent like 500 kids home because if anybody coughed, if anybody had like a 99.91 fever, like that was it. They were home.
Yes, actually, there's the thing about coronavirus is you will have a fever. So like if you're just feeling, not that great, if you don't have a fever, you are more than likely fine.
Yeah.
Still take caution, but don't panic unless you have a fever and you're really starting to feel sick.
The big thing is that don't just panic. Like go if you're worried, go to the doctor.
Right.
But don't, I don't know whatever you would do in a panic. Like you should go to the doctor if you're worried. That's what you should do, and you should avoid other people. Avoid other people. Go to the doctor.
Yep.
Also, I want to mention, because we'll talk about it in a second, MERS, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome. So a lot of things, because there's like a lot of names going around for the coronavirus. COVID-19 is the official name, because coronavirus, like we said, is like general. COVID, but you want to be really careful about using the names that assign it to a particular race, because then that goes into othering and making like these people
fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, these people they have like everybody's susceptible to it. No race is immune. Although there are some theories out there right now that certain races are immune, but like people aren't immune because of the color of their skin. So, and when you use those terms, like it others people, and it really spreads misinformation because folks think that they're going to be immune to it because they're not,
right?
Whatever race, and then it also helps.
It others that community, and people are going to be like, I can't go there because of this, or I can't go around those people because of this. I don't want to get sick by being around them. Yeah,
it aids in discrimination. Like someone was saying, like we are at work, like someone even said they made a joke to, like we had one girl at work that's Asian, and someone made a joke to her about the virus, and she's like, well, that's kind of racist because, just because I'm Asian doesn't mean I'm going to get you sick. But it's like, it's that kind of mentality when you start using those words.
100%.
Yeah. So the current COVID-19 coronavirus is believed to have mutated into two strains, which makes it a little more difficult for scientists to come up with a vaccine. Not impossible, simply more time consuming. It also makes the virus difficult to track, and it seems that it may have originated in more than one source.
Yeah, so mutations cause a lot of problems. If it's already mutated into 2, who's to say it's not mutated into 4 by now? And developing a vaccine, obviously you need an exact copy of something for your immune system to build up a resistance to, which is why we can't develop a vaccine for the flu, because it's different every year, and your body has to have, for a vaccine, it has to be the exact kind.
Yeah. So
that's why there's this issue, and the fact that it's already mutated into 2 and it's just now spreading is a little scary.
Yeah. But I mean, that's like doctors say, that's also why it makes it different than some of the other viruses, because the fact that it has mutated, and they, like you said, it does look like it could have originated in a couple places. So that's scary, rather than thinking that it came from one original source. You can't track it. You can't make a vaccine that works for everyone. And that's also like when people get the flu shot, and then they'll get the flu later on. They're like, well, I got the flu even though there's a flu shot, because there's different strands. Right. There's not 100% guarantee. It's just more likely that you will be okay.
Mm-hmm. One definite source is believed to have started on the wet market in Wuhan, China, which is why some people also call it the Wuhan virus. Though typically this kind of naming, like the MERS virus, inflicts racial stereotyping. The virus has nothing to do with race. China is not more prone to viruses. This is merely where the strand of coronavirus started. The wet market sells a variety of meats and fish in the open and often butchers animal on site, making hygiene standards difficult to uphold.
Yeah. So in general, it is why, like, and that happens all over the U.S., all over the country, all over the world. There are people that decide that they're going to have an open market and they're going to just be butchering animals and mixing things together. And that in general, that's why good hygiene matters. And that's why be careful of buying food in places that don't practice good hygiene. Again, this is not a Chinese thing. This is like
it happens everywhere.
I've seen this happen. And go down to the South and go check out some of the markets that you can see, like
especially around farms, because there's so like feces and everything in farms. Like,
I mean, many of them obviously they have good hygiene practices,
absolutely.
but there's also places where it's not. So you don't know where you're getting your food. You got to be careful, you know. And those scientists are not sure. It appears that bats may have infected the chickens and other animals in the markets. And P.S. No one got sick because they ate an infectious bat. Bats infected the other animals that people typically eat, because there's this thing that was going around that they're like people in China are just eating like
I've heard that
bats.
So much. They're like they're eating all these weird things and blah 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 blah. And while they may eat things that may seem weird to you, we eat things that may seem weird to them. There's no universal standard of food. Every culture has their different foods and things. And like it says, there is like the bats infected these things. They're not like just going out and like eating the heads off of bats, and like that's not like what it is.
Again, that goes back to this racial stereotyping of like, what do you think happened? Like someone just they put a rip the head off a bat and they're like,
they're not Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, exactly.
Just gonna say that.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, it's the whole thing of like, I mean, think of how many people get sick eating chicken every year. I mean, it's so easy to get sick eating chicken. Any kind of meat is.
It is.
You know, I guess the vegans have a point. I mean, you got to think about it.
As cute as bats are, they are also responsible for spreading other diseases such as Ebola, HIV, and rabies. Much like flying insects such as mosquitoes, bats come in contact with many animals and can spread diseases quickly and easily. So
they're cute, but little germ carriers.
Yeah, imagine bats eat insects, a lot of them. So if they eat an infected mosquito, boom, that's probably easy spread there. They, get that infection. They just bite 6 different other animals. Now those 6 animals are infected.
Anything that's spread through blood. I mean, any like mosquitoes. Anything that's spreading through blood, like you're increasing your chances, of being sick. And then So because I don't like bats anyways, I know that they look cute in those videos, and that's the only time they're ever cute. And I'm terrified around here because they just have bats all over Rhode Island for some fucking reason. That means you're not going to have
any bugs though.
I don't care. Even though you did
have mosquitoes last year.
Huh? Yeah, exactly. I did have mosquitoes last year, and I don't care. I don't want a tree full of bats. I am afraid that one day I'm going to just be minding my own business one night, and I'm going to look up because I hear a flutter, and it's going to be a tree full of bats, and then I'm going to look like Christian Bale in the pit in the first Batman, which I know you haven't seen because you don't watch superhero movies, but he goes down to confront his fears, and he's just in this pit, and he's filled with bats, and they're circling around him.
The best bat experience I had?
What?
When we were in Puerto Rico, we went into the rainforest, and we found this cave, and we went down these these stairs were not safe. There were just these stairs that led into this cave. And it's pitch black because it's a fucking cave. The stairs have holes in them. We make it to the bottom and we have our little headlights on. And we didn't have a tour guide. We walked into the rainforest by ourselves.
All of this is a horrible idea. Horrible idea.
We just went off by ourselves. We're in this cave, which, mind you, if you look around, there's just massive holes in the ground that I don't know where you're going to go if you fall through that hole. So we were very careful. But you look up. The whole ceiling is bats.
Oh my God.
All the way. There's not one open spot. It's just bats all the way across. And I was like, if anybody makes any noise, these motherfuckers are going to swarm us.
Jesus, I would have died.
I have a video. You've seen the video, haven't you?
Have I?
I don't know. It's on Facebook. I'll find it later.
No. All right.
It was cool. And now that I'm now, I probably why didn't we have a tour guide?
Just walking through caves
in Puerto Rico. I mean, it's not a dangerous place, but just in the rainforest in Puerto Rico.
In general, you should be walking through random caves, especially if you don't have any training.
I also stole a sign from that rainforest, and I have it in my living room now.
Well, now you're going to be cursed.
I didn't steal it. Actually, it was on the ground of the rainforest, and it was going to fall off a cliff and rot away. So I was like.
Was it going to fall off a cliff?
It was. It actually was.
Okay.
It was it was definitely about to be lost. So I was like, well, it's mine now. And now it's in our house.
Okay. All right. Now, because the first outbreak of the disease happened in China, most of the cases, over 80,000, are currently there. However, at this time, the disease has spread to 100 different countries, infecting 145,000 people as of this writing. 5,400 people have died of the virus. The majority of people experience mild symptoms and recover quickly.
And Europe is actually the current center of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
They are reporting more cases daily than China. So China is actually on a decline. As far as we know, it could be fake and they could be getting more cases.
Yeah.
But as far as being reported, if we're to believe it, which we should, Europe is like the new epicenter.
Well, that's because China started to quarantine people and, and telling folks don't fucking go outside.
Mm-hmm. Several other countries have also suffered greatly. The next highest threats are Italy, Iran, and South Korea. Italy currently has 17,000 cases, Iran has 11,000, and South Korea has 7,900. The most concerning issue has been Italy's sudden jump, which reported over 13,000 new cases in 1 week. This prompted a countrywide shutdown and house quarantine. In contrast, South Korea saw a dramatic drop in their cases after they instituted intensive testing and monitoring of the virus. And the only thing that kind of scares me about this is if they're experiencing so many cases in South Korea. North Korea definitely has cases.
Yep.
They're just so poor that they have no way to test. And
they're so controlled, yeah.
And they're so controlled. Russia did deliver them some tests recently. However, the mass majority of people living in North Korea live in such poverty that I feel like it's going to wipe a lot of their population out. I think it's going to be very bad for North Korea, and a lot of innocent people are going to be horribly affected, and nobody will ever hear about it.
Yeah.
And they'll never do anything to make it right.
Yeah. The only hope, maybe Kim Jong-un will die. I don't know.
Hopefully.
It's really sad. There are a couple like small countries like that where they're so like the press is so heavily monitored going in and out. Nobody really knows what is going on, and we won't know for a while after.
Right.
It is, but the thing with Italy, like that was like there was like 200 deaths overnight one day. In 24 hours they had 200 deaths, and like to jump that much. But then you see, as soon as you put some safe practices in place, everything drops back down. So the testing, the fact that we don't have testing right now in most places. Now, by the end of this week, by the time this drops, I'm sure there'll be a lot of stations set up. But like as of us recording, so few states are even testing. Fucking Indiana's leading the way on testing. I don't know how the hell that happened.
What? That actually blows my mind.
Exactly, right? So, well, my sister lives in a very small town, and they've already had like 2 or 3 cases pop up in their town.
I know in Chicago they had a lot, so I'm sure like that close border, a lot of people go to Chicago for work out of Northwest Indiana. And I mean, good for them. Well, I think Indiana's probably leading the way because they have such a surplus in their budget because they fuck everybody over that lives there.
They don't spend any of their money.
So they were just like, you know what? Let's just lead the way. We have money.
Yeah. Good for you, Indiana. All that money that you're saving for what? For fucking what? Not for your people. In the U.S., we have 2,340 cases as of this writing on March 14th. Doctors and scientists are projecting it will get better before it gets worse. I'm sorry. Doctors are projecting it will get worse before it gets better, which is why it's essential that people follow quarantine guidelines and not chalk this up to media hype.
Oh, my God.
Everybody's, it's like, it's just because of the election year. That's why.
Yeah. Donald Trump got help from the Russians, and the Democrats are getting help from a mass pandemic. That was the whole plan, people.
Yep, that's what it is. That the entire world is in a pandemic because of the 2020 U.S. election.
And I like how Trump was like, this is a Democrat. I can't do a Trump voice. That was like Bernie. I was going to Bernie.
Yeah, it's all Bernie. Yeah.
He was like, this is a Democratic hoax, blah, blah, blah. 3 days later, he's like, we're declaring a national emergency.
He's so stupid.
Did you see the interview of him or like his press release?
Which one?
Recently, this woman asked him about closing how his administration closed the pandemic center. I don't know the exact term.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that, but yeah, he closed the pandemic department.
And he was just like, I don't know anything about that. And I'm like, she was like, your administration closed it and you don't know anything about it. And he just like cut her off and like kept going.
Oh yeah, well CNN was like, can you explain why we haven't already had testing? And he goes, that's CNN, that's fake news, and goes on to the next thing.
And he was like,
shut up, you're such a little fucking bitch.
And in the same thing, he just was like, we're doing a great job. We're going to have the greatest test, the prettiest test, the most beautiful test, best test she's ever seen. The Obama administration really bombed it on the, what was it? The swine flu? I don't remember.
Whatever.
Yeah, he was like, the Obama administration really bombed. They did a terrible job.
He tells people, he's like, people tell me that I have a natural ability with this. They ask me, and I'm just like, I tell them, I don't know. Maybe I should have done this instead of run for president.
Yeah, and then he's even like, and then somebody's like, but the Obama administration had already done a million tests by this point in the epidemic of their time. Yeah. And you haven't done like any. And he's just like, nope, they did a terrible job. They didn't manage it properly. I don't understand what you're talking about.
I hate him so much.
Anyways.
I hate him, and I hate that people watch him stumble over himself like that every single day and still think this man's a god. Mm-hmm. This man's going to save America.
Can't even answer an actual question.
Can't even answer that. And so fucking dumb.
As of this writing, most states with a reported case have canceled schools at least for the next week. Boston, Massachusetts has canceled all classes for the next 6 weeks, causing many to wonder how childcare will work and what will happen for children who rely on school meals and shelter to keep them safe and healthy.
So it's a hard, because it's like, I get it. Like, if you have kids, and especially, and it depends, every state is different. So like Illinois is the highest. Your kids cannot stay at home alone if they are 14 or under. 14 or under. That's really hard. Yeah. And like in Rhode Island, it's 10 or under. I think the youngest is 8 or under. So
it's kind of young.
8 is young, but I'm just saying, like, the youngest is like your kid 8 or under, they can't be home. It's between 8 and 14. So you've got kids. So a lot of places, so like Gina Raimondo in Rhode Island she asked daycares to stay open so that they could take care of kids that were 10 and under. But if your kid's in between that and you don't have childcare and you don't have money for childcare, you don't have any way to take care of your kids and to go to work. You know,
what are you gonna do?
Yeah. And like, and then there's kids that they rely on those school meals, because that's like, some of those kids, that's the only thing they'll eat all day.
And on top of that, the Trump administration is considering more cuts to the SNAP program right when this is going on. So now, not only do these kids not get their lunch meals or their breakfast at school, they potentially are going to have no food because, pandemic, great time to cut SNAP benefits.
But fuck those people, because you got $200 extra on your taxes, and that's what's matters.
And you know what?
You fucking self-righteous.
We don't have any money for SNAP, but that $1.5 trillion to Wall Street, that helped out.
Got that. I was so annoyed. I was arguing with the person earlier, like this week or last week, that was basically saying that. They're like, but I got more money back on my taxes. I'm like, how much could you have honestly got? Honestly, it's not like you're getting thousands. You're getting a couple $100. Mm-hmm. And because you got a couple $100, thousands and thousands, millions potentially, can't feed themselves and can't feed their children. At least the children, like millions of children, won't eat because their parents can't feed them. Mm-hmm. And you're like, but I got $300 on my tax return, and that's for me and my family. And go fuck yourself, you fucking piece of shit. Yep. I cannot. Also, unrelated, I was in Ocean State Job Lot this week, and I found a pair of fucking Confederate flag pajama pants. When I was like, first of all, this is goddamn Rhode Island. Why do we have this racist shit in here? So I bought them, and I know people are like, you shouldn't buy, but it's because Ocean State buys in bulk. So they don't they don't item order those. That came in some random bulk of clothing. It was the only one pair there, and it was $5. So I bought them, and I cut them up, and I'm using them as rags. So I reused the material, and nobody can wear those racist fucking pieces of shit.
That works.
Yeah. So anyways, likewise, most colleges and universities have canceled classes for a week to 6 weeks. My friend Jill gets to come home for a whole month.
That's exciting.
Again, though, causing concern for those whose only option is to stay on campus. There are agencies working to house college students, so if you have not found any resources, reach out to us and we can direct you. There's a lot of places that are working with college students, but especially if you're from overseas.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people on Twitter that were like, I'm here from another country, and this is where I live. Where am I supposed to go? I have nobody here.
Yeah, and you better fucking refund those kids.
That Jesus was my Christ. Thing. They paid for this whole year, semester, or whatever. They better get their fucking money back because that's expensive as fuck.
In general, student loans should be put on hold or postponed for 6 months. Mm-hmm. 6 months. Let people fucking, get on their feet and figure out what they're doing. And you better refund them for the time that they're not there.
Yep.
But they won't, those pieces of shit.
They're like, well, we're going to take the loss if we refund it. We've already put that building aside for you.
Yeah.
It should be noted that the biggest cause of the spread of the virus in South Korea was due to a large church congregation. This is why it is important for people to listen when officials say no unnecessary large gatherings. And I do want to point out, because I did a little research into this group, because I was like, is this a weird cult? Is this going to be interesting? And while they do have some like really out there beliefs, and they probably are a cult, they're not like a crazy cult. You know, there was just a large group of people who couldn't get a building permit, so they were sitting on the floor, and they were super close contact. And it wasn't because they're like this weird cult that sits around in circles. Like, they literally just didn't have a big enough building, so they were just all super close. Yeah. So I just want to put that out there, and that so to prevent that othering.
Oh yeah, and be like, oh yeah, well those people are, you know,
right, exactly.
They're not us. No, listen. So I still have a lot of people that I follow that are church friends, and just this morning I'm reading this. I don't know what the fuck this person's thinking. They're like, listen to me, folks. Jesus commands us to be in church. It is under the blood. You got to put that fear aside. You got to get out of that. Forget about this media hype, and you got to go there, and you got to trust your Lord to save you. And you can go fuck yourself right the fuck off, telling people that they need to go trust their Lord and Savior. If they were trusting the Lord and Savior, we wouldn't have 145 fucking thousand of these viruses going around. So fuck you for encouraging people to do that, and fuck any pastor that's like, I'm still going to host church. You can do it online. They're going to host church. They are. You can host church online. You can, if you got to have a small Bible study, if you're itching that much, fine.
They're still going to share a glass and drink the wine and all that.
If you are telling people that they should be showing up to church, if there was a God, I hope he put a place in hell for you. Mm-hmm. That's what I hope, because that's a lot. I mean, my thread has just been filled with. I have unfriended more people this week than I ever have before, because that's not me. I listen to people of all sides, but I'm like, if you're going to be that fucking stupid and tell people that they should harm themselves and the people that they love to go listen to you, you're that arrogant about your church message. You need to go. Yeah. You need to. Someone needs to take a sword dildo and stick it up your ass.
Shove it all the way in.
Shove it all the way in. I'm good. Go ahead. You can keep going. I talked a lot.
By intervening early with lockdowns and quarantines, we greatly reduce the risks and potential deaths. We cannot stop everyone from getting the virus, but we can change the trajectory of the disease, which is why quarantining, and when you are told don't go out in public, don't go out in public. Don't go to church. Don't go to bars. Stay your ass at home. Enjoy it like I'm going to.
Yep.
People with depression are at their all-time highs right now. Shout out.
They don't have to make excuses. They can just be like, coronavirus.
Yep. So there you go.
That's right. Yeah, but please do stay home. Let it, give it a chance to work, you know? Mm-hmm. So who's most at risk? Number one, the folks who are most at risk are folks with primary immunodeficient, who are primary immunodeficient, also known as PI, and that covers about 350 different diseases and disorders. That includes older adults, it includes people with diabetes, heart disease, and folks with lung disease.
And primary immunodeficient is not HIV or anything that weakens the system from treatments like chemotherapy. People in these conditions should be cautious, but are not more susceptible to COVID-19.
Yeah, so there's a lot of confusion because obviously, like, HIV is called human immunodeficiency virus. So it's not to say that you shouldn't be careful. It's just to say that you having HIV does not make you more susceptible like people that have PI. You know, you'll be at the same risk as any other person. So even if you are not PI, you can still carry the disease to someone who is. So again, I know that it's funny, all the memes about the millennials getting the free, like the cheap air flights and everything, and I get it, and it is funny, but also, like, we can endanger the people that we love, though. So just because you're not sick, you may have a friend with a disability who's sick, you have a grandparent or an older loved one who's sick, you have someone you didn't even realize was PI, and you're exposing them to risk because you've decided that, you know, you're immortal and it doesn't matter what you do. So please practice social distancing. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I also put in here 14 million Americans work in jobs that put them at greater risk of being in contact with COVID. And that's basically, you know, retail, hospitality, air, obviously anyone who's in the medical field. Bless you right now. Firefighters, policemen, anybody that's out working with the general public.
Anybody that can't do their job from home, basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And please wash your hands. The amount of people I see on a regular basis that don't wash their hands prior to this incident really blows my mind. Especially in the men's bathroom. I see so many men that like go to the bathroom and walk out, and I'm like,
That counter will stay dry all day.
So you opened the door to come in here, which people touched. You touched your junk, which fine, whatever. I guess that's not the worst thing. I don't know. But then you went and you touched the handle of the thing to flush. Like, there's just so much bacteria and nasty stuff that you're touching. Literally, why would you not wash your hands? It literally takes 30 seconds from the time to walk there, turn it on, wash, and dry.
Men never wash their hands. One of the things I notice, never. Women will wash their hands all day, and half the time it's just because they're making a show of washing their hands, but they wash their fucking hands. Men don't. Just walk right out.
Don't touch your face, which is that is so hard for me because I'm constantly, I brush my hair, I'm always touching my face, and even being over here, Samantha has a cold, which is not COVID-19, but I'm like, don't touch your face, Paul, and I'm just constantly all over my face.
I've touched my face 3 times since you talked about it.
Literally.
Here we go again.
Avoid large gatherings, please. Practice social distancing, and be aware and conscious of your friends and family at risk. Ask them what they need.
Yes, and don't go over and ask them what they need.
Don't go to grandma's house this week.
Call her and ask her what she needs. Leave it outside her door. You find other ways that you can help your friends in needs. And so and there's so much to this, but yeah, why are people mad at Trump? Because people are like, but it's not his fault.
Yeah, so we're gonna summarize it because we could have an entire episode based on why people are mad at Trump, but we just got it down to 4 little bullet points for you.
Why people are mad at Trump about this particular incident. All right, so in 2018, Trump dismantled the pandemic department as an unnecessary expense. So under Obama's administration, I don't know how long this has been in place, but there had been an entire department completely devoted to pandemics, which is very important in the age of biological warfare.
Hello.
Yeah, you need that. But Trump's like, no, we don't need that. We're fine. America's great.
When the new budget for the CDC came up, it was set for an 80% decrease. Now, the CDC is the Center for Disease Control. So we already got rid of the pandemic department. Now our disease control department, we're going to cut 80%. Yeah. And rather than stepping in to find funding, Trump ignored the CDC. Thankfully, Congress stepped in to supplement the department. So
it still did lose some funding, but it didn't lose the 80% that it was set. Because somebody in Congress was like, we might need this fucking department. This is a big one. Trump fired every official who had any experience in handling pandemics, and rather than replacing them, he simply left their positions vacant, choosing to allow his unqualified and understaffed cabinet to oversee their positions.
Ivanka Trump's like... She's got her Corona in one hand, her lime. She's like, looks right.
I got this. Ivanka's literally sitting there trying to Google how to fucking fight a pandemic right now because he's like, Ivanka, Jared, Don Jr., they're going to take care of all this.
He also put Pence in charge of like a big part of it, Pence was in charge of Indiana when the HIV, I don't want to say pandemic, but like HIV epidemic, spread in Indiana, and Pence just literally did jack shit about it. And he's like, Pence, you're going to run this. You got it.
Yeah.
Great idea.
It's the whole point of like the fact that he has fired so many people, or they've quit or been forced out, or, and he hasn't filled any of their positions, just being like, we don't need that position. We don't need that position. What the fuck you mean we don't need that position? What are you talking about?
Equally as important as defense.
And where is all the money for their things? You think he's putting that money back into the economy?
He did. He put it to the Wall Street people.
He gave it to the Wall Street. What I'm just saying, who's paying for their positions? Ivanka's just collecting like 6 people's salary right now, and he's pretending that it's not nepotism. Ugh.
And he has also spent his entire presidency cutting funding for science and medicine, and tells folks not to trust the media. He constantly is claiming fake news. He claimed that the pandemic was a Democratic hoax. Like, he's just completely underbrushing this until the entire world was like, hey, United States, get your fucking shit together. And then he's finally like, we're declaring state of emergency. It's going to be the greatest state of emergency you've ever seen. Biggest state of emergency you've ever seen. Greatest thing ever. I don't know why anybody hasn't done this before me. Greatest state of emergency.
Nobody ever thought of it. That's what my next campaign slogan is. State of emergency. So, yeah. So, and that's why people are like, I don't know what to trust. Even people that like didn't hate the media, but like were like, the media has become more and more biased, and we know that. That's just the truth. But people are like, I just don't know what to trust anymore. I literally don't know.
How about the scientists? If you don't want to trust the scientists, I mean, the media, listen to the scientists.
Because everybody buys their own scientists. Because this jackass buys people like Ben Carson and has him come up and pretend that he knows what the fuck he's talking about. And then people are like, I don't know what to believe. But I'm going to tell you, look at the goddamn numbers. That's all you got to look at. And it's telling you, you better be careful, better be safe.
Let me just say that Italy would not have shut their entire country down for no reason.
Exactly. You don't shut down a country for no reason. They don't care about our fucking election. It's not because they want Trump to get out of the office in 2020. And all of
these states and things are not willing to lose the millions and billions of dollars they are by shutting shit down, by canceling things. It is real.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't shut school down for 6 weeks. When have we ever had... I don't know of any time in my lifetime where we've had schools shut down for 6 weeks.
And they are moving the Boston Marathon, and that alone is going to cost the state of Boston, I think it said like the city of Boston, I think it said $200 million. Yeah. These places are not going to be taking these huge losses for no reason.
States and businesses they're taking millions and billions of dollars. Every event that I know, from a simple meeting to like anything that's been planned in the next like 4 weeks has been canceled. So again, to say this is media hype and just running a hysteria, that's such bullshit, because you're right. The one thing people don't bullshit about is their money. And the stock markets don't crash enough to need $1.5 trillion injection because people are caught up in a media hype. So pull your head out of your fucking ass and make sure you wash it afterwards.
Yes, get a bidet.
Exactly. And also, stay queer.
Don't get a lobotomy.
We love your little allied hookers.
And our little succulent sapphis.
And our proud homocrats. I don't know how I did that.
Fuck.
Sodomy circus.
Have yourself a sodomy circus, or don't.
Bye.
Goodbye. Evan likes to throw it off every now and then and fuck us up.
You throw it off.
You did it, bitch.